Okay, so first let's talk about this first image. You had that circle with the elliptical effect and the shadows. That's really too much for a simple book cover, and it didn't make any sense. And especially with the text that you chose to use, it was just a little bit too much. So here's the text. Do you see how screwed up that is? That's not really even in a line or a circle, it's just random. And this is italic. I'm going to make this not italic because I think it's kind of crazy to make it italic. Italic would be if you were making, like, writing a paper and the italicized words would be something somebody else said. I'm going to make English comp larger, and I'm going to add it to a different color because that red, when you use red in an image, what happens is it's stuck. Everybody is stuck on that red. So I would like you to stay away from using red. Now, the English comp stuff you have here, that's not working either. Garden State College, that's nice, but it shouldn't be italic either. So, like, there's a lot of change I'd like to see you make. I already think this looks a bunch better just with the simple Darton State College English comp. And then instead of that weird circle that you made, what would work with English comp? Like maybe a book or something like that. So you could switch into Google and you could type in English comp book covers. You can see a bunch of ideas, and then you can kind of grab ideas from there. This is nice, the pencil, and that looks a little bit like yours in the other one. So maybe what I'm going to type in now is just book covers or books. Bookshelf. So this might be really interesting. I'm just going to copy this image and I'm going to go back to Illustrator and I'm just going to paste it in. It won't let me do that, so I guess I'm going to have to make it large. I'm going to have to save image to downloads. Then I'm going to have to come into my image and go File, Place. And then I'll go to the download folder and I'll place that image of the bookshelf. So just remember, less is more all the time when we're working in with any kind of image or any kind of poster design. Sorry, I'm kind of losing it on you here. There we go. So here's the books. I mean, maybe they're even interesting just right there, English comp, and you know, the dud space, the dull space, you can fill that with shapes. So maybe you might want to make a shape that comes down over that and turn it into, then turn the text, sort of make it a nice little switch with the text being white, just the first few letters, so that you can see them. And let's go to the text, fill, none, and we want this to be white with no fill. Now we're going to select or arrange bring to front. So there's part of the word English. So you could start to work with the idea of negative and positive space a little more. Maybe find an image and get colors from the image. So maybe the text would look cool with the color like this a little bit. So we're going to double click on the color tool and we're going to come in here and we're going to try to pick a color kind of close to one of those colors on the bookshelf That orange is kind of nice, you see, right in here. So, you know, try to find colors that might work with it. And see, now that looks kind of nice. And that blue might not be working as well as we'd like it to, but, you know, it's a design element if nothing else. Okay? So, again, I'm going to get rid of the blue. I'm going to get rid of anything that's written in orange, or anything that's written in red. It's just a no-no. Maybe you could do these little shapes in this orange color. So I have this shape selected, and I'm going to go back to the selection tool, going to select that orange, and I'm going to find my swatches, and I'm going to drag and drop that swatch in there, and I'm going to name it Orange Like Book. Okay, so now I'm going to make this be that orange. And maybe what I'll do is this, and I'll take this back to a blue color, and I'll have English. I'm going to pull it all the way over to there, and then I'll take the first letters of that, and I'll grab them. I'll send this to back first. There. And now I'll grab those first 4 letters that say English, and I'll make them white with no fill. No stroke, white. I'm having trouble here. Here we go. White and then no stroke. There. So then you're getting that positive and negative effect. So anyway, get back to work with these and really play with them. I'd like to see 3 new thumbnails before I see the final work. I think you could do something with this check mark, but again, the text is just too bizarre. It's not, frankly, it's just, it doesn't work at all, because you really need to think about line and shape and how these elements work together. And I think that that was just bad, the way you wrote that again. And you don't need it twice anyway. Now this Start State College font, that's a really funky kind of like old typewriter font. So I'd like you to think about using a different one for that. And then maybe that would be on the top as well. And then you could make this larger so that it kind of filled the page. And then remember we talked about the notion of Gestalt imagery, and one of the things was called continuation. So we could pull this out a little bit, but if we have enough in it so that the reader can fill it in, then it's kind of cool. I'm curious how you made this check mark though, and anyway, so here we go, and now I'm just going to put white on that. I'm going to get my little picker and change it to white, and then I'm going to copy it and paste it, and I'm going to bring it over here just so I can see how that looks. That's kind of nice. But I'd like you to really play with color, play with line, play with addition and subtraction of different colors. Maybe instead of orange, we'll make this a, let's see, reddish color or a greenish color. See, we can pick it if we get the eyedropper tool. That's a nice color. I like that teal. And then it repeats enough that I think it might be a really good way to go. So we could maybe pull it in. And then we could cut composition out and we could put it someplace else even. So this has become quite a long tutorial. And I hope that you're understanding now where I'm coming from and how important it is for you to think about line, shape, form, color. Okay, so now we have English again and we have composition. So maybe it would do something like that, you know. So make a whole bunch of thumbnails kind of based on the same design. And I like this English comp. I'm not real sure about that big giant check mark. And then for compositions, again, you have that silly red again, and I don't think that that's really appropriate for any font on any image unless you just don't know what you're doing and you do know what you're doing. So maybe I'll make all those colors, that one of these colors on the book. I'll go back to the teal. I liked that. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll use this in the book with the book image. I'll pull that down because that needs a lot of work. I'll pull that down, and maybe I'll just copy it and I'll put it over here. And instead of it going like all the way across, maybe if it just went up and down and then was a little bit smaller. So you see how different I've made all these images look just because I came in and played. And I want you to do that. I mean, it's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be like, get this homework done right now. You know what I'm saying? So that might be cool. Of course, you aren't going to need this stuff because that says composition. So you don't need to, double check yourself. I think I messed up the pencil. And maybe you could put another little square in here, or maybe not. I think I just like that pencil by itself. Now you see how much more interesting that is now? So have fun, okay? I'm going to post this and I'm going to send it also to a couple other students just so everyone can see what I'm talking about when I say play around and make thumbnails. Thanks.